Hi and welcome to Slick Willy Flying. Today we're going to do a salty booger. The salty booger is just the way it sounds. It's a variant of a woolly bugger. The woolly bugger is one of those classic flies that can be found in every single tackle box. So what am I doing here? So what we're doing is we're going to tie this on a saltwater hook, on a stainless steel hook. For hook, I'm using this, I've had these forever. These are the 34011. Size 4, and they're a long shank stainless steel hook from Mustad. And what I'm looking for is mostly the size, because I really believe that size and sink rate are probably the most important things when it comes to triggering a bite. So I'm looking for about 2 inches total length. And for me, this is going to be something that I'm just casting up into the mangroves or over a grass flat, targeting snook, targeting juvenile tarpon, targeting sea trout, redfish, just about anything in the inshore, jacks, you name it, and it will trigger bites. So I will tie this fly in a variety of ways, with and without the bead. The one we're going to tie right now has got a 4mm tungsten bead. I use tungsten so that we can get away from the lead. If you live in a place where lead is a problem, there are places where it's illegal. I'm going to have a little bit of crystal flash in the tail. For the body, I'm going to use, this stuff is awesome. It's called Super G Core. It's basically like a small version of Game Changer Chenielle. And I'm going to be using an olive. It's 15mm. And I love the way that it makes the body nice and thick. Here's a black version. And again, I use the same material on black. And it just gives you that thick body that's going to push some water. For the bead, I'm using the 4mm tungsten. And for the tail in this one, I used olive. Now, this is also kind of interesting. I happen to have 3 different kinds of olive. So I have just regular, this one is called, this is not regular, I'm sorry. This is Sculpin olive, Strung Marabou. Then I have yellow olive, also Marabou. And then I have Wolly Bugger olive. And this one is the actual, what the fly company calls their olive. I used this particular Wolly Bugger Marabou in the fly that's in the vise. For the fly we're going to tie, I'm going to go with the Sculpin olive, which is a little bit darker. And I like the natural colors, tans, olives, black. Those are the kind of colors that I like to go for. So again, I'm going to use the 15mm G Core Chenielle, a little bit of crystal flash, and I'm going to throw a little bit of wire in the body to just, reinforce the whole body. And to top it off, I'm going to use 1 feather out of this awesome brown cape. And I just, you almost don't need it because the body is pretty thick, but I think that the details matter, and I just love the way it looks. So let's have another sip of our cocktail. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And let's change the camera angle and let's tie a fly. Okay, so one thing we did not talk about, for thread I'm using this Ultra 140 denier in olive color. I'm going to put a tiny bit of super glue on the hook just to keep everything from spinning. And then I like to use my thread to kind of smear it around a bit. And now I'm going to start my thread base. This is a very beginner fly, super fly for young people. It doesn't matter whether you're chasing brown trout or saltwater species. It's just a matter of tying it on an appropriate size hook. But this is a great fly for young people. Alright, I'm going to have a sip of my cocktail and give that 1 second to dry. So I had pre-prepped a little bit of my tail feather just to save a little bit of time. And for the length, I want to have the fly be about double the size of the hook. So that length of the shank is going to be my tie-in spot. And now I'm going to just give this a couple of loose wraps, making sure that I like the length and I like where it's sitting, which I do. So now I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up the hook shank. I'm not really worried about going far up the hook shank. Number one, it won't get to the bead, and the chenille we're using is quite thick, so I don't really need to worry about thickening up the body like I would if I was using another different type of body material. So now I'm going to get my Krystal flash, and I'm just going to use half a strand. I'll save the other half for another fly in the future. And I'm going to take that half a strand and I'm going to fold it in half. And then you can open the loop now or you can open the loop after, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and tie this in on my side of the hook. I don't really want it longer than the Marabou. Making sure I like the way that ended up, which I do. Now I'm going to transfer the Krystal flash to the opposite side. And got to make sure that I'm going to like where it ends up on that side, which I do. Perfect. So now the next material to tie in is going to be a piece of wire. And I'm going to make a suggestion that while I always just trim off a piece, when I'm doing this particular fly, I trim off a slightly longer than normal piece. Because it's very hard to judge the length, and it's a kind of a big deal if you've run out of wire. So I don't know, I'm going to tie in about maybe 3/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch, just enough to make sure that I really get a good tie-in with the wire. Now I could just set the wire aside, and now we can get our chenille. I mean, this is such an easy fly to tie. You can tie up several of these in no time. Like all the other chenilles that you see me use, I'm going to go ahead and pull off a little bit of chenille, exposing that thread core. And that's what we want to tie in. We want to bring the thread right to that tie-in point, right where the Marabou ends. And we're going to tie in that thread core from the chenille. And now we're going to take our Marabou all the way up, and we're going to get it out of the way. Now, you don't need to do it. You can use this old school, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my rotary function. And got to make sure the wire is out of the way. Now, when you do this, you really are going to just make this as thick or as thin as you prefer. But I love the way this wraps up, giving me those like grooves that you see, those naturally occurring grooves. I just think they look great. And once I get up to the head, to the bead, I don't really want to get too tight against the bead. I want to give myself a little bit of room for the remaining portions of the fly. But I do want to lock that in good, and now I could trim off this chenille. Perfect. Get that out of the way. Push everything kind of back there in the head and make sure that that's nice and locked in. Alright, so my next material to tie in is going to be the Hackle Feather. So I'm just going to pick, basically what I do is I look at my feathers and I pick a feather that's going to be somewhat long, because it's a long fly, and it's going to give me a nice good wing in the beginning of the fly. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Alright, I'm just going to pull the fuzzies off the feather. So what am I talking about? I'm going to tie this feather in from the bottom of the feather. So this length right here, this length of the fiber, that's what's going to show in the front. And then as the feather gets to the tail end, it's going to be these short fibers. And that's how you make it look nice and bushy in the front of the fly. So I'm just going to trim a little off here. And I'm going to go ahead and tie in this tag nice and hard. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim off that tag end. Just like that. Now you can use a hackle plier, which we will, why not? You don't need to. And we're just going to bring this feather to the back of the fly. Open turns. And I just think that this gives it so much more life. And once I'm at the back here, now I take my wire and I'm going to counter wrap. And the best way to do it is kind of just wiggle the wire through. And when you do that, you don't capture too many of your fibers. But I'm going to go ahead and counter wrap all the way up to the front. And once we're at the front, we just, a couple of turns in the front is enough. And now we capture the wire. And that wire will go a long way to keeping this fly in one piece, so you can catch multiple awesome fish. You're just reinforcing the body with that wire. Now another thing that I like to do is, I will get a brush or a needle and I will just pick out a little bit of what maybe got trapped. Just like that. And now it's a whip finish. And since I'm not using UV resin, I'm going to put a second whip finish in. And because I didn't like the way that whip finish went, I'm going to put a third whip finish in. That one was good. I could cut my thread off. I can cut this tag off. And there it is, the Salty Bugger. Alright, so we're back. So there it is, Salty Bugger. Awesome fly. Gets a lot of bites. This fly is amazing in both freshwater, saltwater, doesn't matter. You just need to tie it in an appropriate size for whatever you're targeting. The last thing that I do is I put a little bit of this hard as nails on the knot, just because I don't want this knot to come undone. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole fly. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Good luck catching, and see you on the next video.